history behind the name. In this month, Ghana month of March, will bring you many reports like the one just filed by my colleague Komla Adom. That's our agenda for today. Now let's talk consumer rights. The consumer movement marks 15th of March with World Consumer Rights Day every year as a means of raising global awareness about consumer rights and needs. Celebrating the day is a chance to demand that the rights of all consumers are respected and protected, and to protest against market abuses and social injustices which undermine those rights. This year, the day is being marked here in Ghana with the launch of a petition to get more than 20,000 signatories and use it to engage government about the passage of the law. Let me introduce to you my guests, and then Frank Addo, who is also my colleague, hits the streets and he comes up with some very interesting thoughts from people out there. But my studio guest, George Kojointi, is Business Development Manager at the Ghana Standards Authority. And then Apia Kusi Adomako is Country Coordinator, CATS Ghana. Also Isaac Yao Obeying, CATS Ghana Associate Research. So good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thanks for, did I say good morning?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Thanks for being here on this day. We will talk about what the day means to you and the way forward in terms of the bill, in terms also of the signatures that you're collecting, CATS. But first, I want us to watch and listen to, as Frank Addo hits the streets, this is what he brought.
I have the right to patronize in made in foreign goods. Yes, that is what I understand by consumer rights.
For me, consumer rights are rights that the consumer, okay, or a customer or a purchaser has over purchasing product or consuming certain products. Yes, example, you want to buy something like phone. You have the right to purchase whatever you want, what kind of brand, the type, yes. Basically, this or whatever.
I think consumers have their rights being trampled upon. And I see it to be the laws not being enforced. So I believe strongly the law enforcement agencies must be up and doing. And if they are up and doing, I think the rights will be respected, and we all, enjoy the rights that we are supposed to enjoy as consumers.
What right do you have as a consumer?
My rights as a consumer, I think I've got the right to select whatever product I want and buy the quality of any kind of, the right is like, I need to pay for what I am buying for, but I need value for that. Okay, so if you are offering me something, I'm buying something, I have the right to get the quality of what you are giving me. That's what I think consumer.
Oh, I have right to right products on the market. And if I come to the market and because it's supplier on the market, I feel everything is okay. So if the supplier knows that he's supposed to bring the right thing, and I go to buy the right thing, I'm secured in the first place. So I feel my right should be protected in any other way.
Yeah, you were just asking me about consumer rights, and I said consumers' rights have been violated in this country because sometimes you want to buy tomatoes, and somebody have forced either the mango or tomatoes to ripe. He has added some chemical. and when you eat it, it will disturb you. The market surveys should be done so that those people who are violating other people's intellectual property will be arrested and dealt with, so that consumers will be protected.
Very interesting views there, and Frank Addo brought us that insert. Let me move to you, Apia Kusi Adomako, Country Coordinator of CATS. First of all, are we misplaced? We don't even seem to know our consumer rights, do we?
Yes, and I think I don't blame Ghanaians if they don't know their consumer rights, because for many years, consumer rights have been violated at will and whim. And for example, you go to a shop to buy something and they've written goods sold here are not returnable. By extension, you can't take the goods. So you realize that it's a matter of take it or leave it. You go and buy fuel. I mean, for fuel, MPA has been very good with regards to fuel. If you buy fuel and there are any issues and report to MPA, MPA can follow up and then get the necessary thing done. But when you go to the marketplace, the malls, the market, Abobloshi, Kaneshi, and all the places, and there are any issue, where are you going to? The shop owner or what? Sometimes if you go back, they will even want to curse you. And you realize that it doesn't worth even going back, because you are going to face an uphill tax. And that is why people, and even if you go to the universities and you talk to PhD holders about their rights, I think it wouldn't be different from what we heard from the pedestrian people.
Any observations from the comments?
Well, there was one speaker who said he understood consumer rights to mean the rights to have rights products. And I thought that was quite apt, simply because quality is an issue that is one more of right than of privilege. And that is why some state agencies like the GSA have been established to ensure that we have a certain standard for products on the market. So, I mean, every single consumer, and this is not a favor that is being done anybody. It's a right that we all have, because you are a consumer. I am a consumer too. So if we don't have products that are safe, or products that are of a certain quality on the market, it is our collective rights that we are breaching. Yes, so I think that bit was apt. But like my brother said, in times past, we have viewed this more as a certain favor that is being done us. So consumers do not stand up for their rights.
The point is that even if you do, where is that legal backing? I mean, where do you end up?
Well, Mama,
how far can you go?
That's why the courts are there, and that's why the regulatory bodies are also there. You see, but we never test the law in this country. We never take things to their logical conclusion, right? If a state agency is mandated to perform a certain function, and that agency is not performing that function, you can go to court to compel it to do what it has been established by law to do. But we don't see too much of this happening in
If we follow
Ghana.
from what you're saying, then we would take the GSA on so many times.
Please,
so if I go and buy Gary, and it's not up to the Olonka that has been sold to me, I can take the GSA
to
on.
begin with, the Olonka is not even supposed to be used.
But
that's where it starts from.
But it is there,
yes.
And you see it as GSA.
Yes, precisely, and that is where I would come in and then say that we have not done 100% of what we are supposed to do. That's the truth. I will not sit on air and pretend like the grass is green and everything is rosy. That's not the truth. As an agency, we have not done all that we can do. So when the new management took over, one of the few things that we decided to do at GSA was to refocus, rebrand, and then now focus on customers, consumers.
We'll come and talk about that a lot more, but I want to bring you in because you are the research side. So I want to ask, what has been the findings from your end?
Thank you. with respect to research, currently we were trying to come out with something we call the State of the Ghanaian Consumer Studies. And we have drafted the proposal and shared it out to some organizations to support us to come out with a comprehensive report on it. But we don't know if it is because those bodies we have sent to do not have the interest of getting this report out, or is it because they do not understand the need for a consumer study? Because we try to replicate what has been done in other countries. Like we have one in Kenya that was done by our sister organization that spells out everything that consumers
So
are
where
suffering
exactly
from.
have you taken this that you're not getting the needed response?
Okay, to banks.
Okay. So we're not necessarily talking about government agencies.
Yes.
So it sounds like we're all not interested, really.
Yes.
Are we? Like, is that you want
So
to?
I think we sent a little 80 sponsorship letter to all the banks, multinationals here, and top local organization businesses for support, and the answer was no. And I think for the study was supposed to look at consumer issues in 5 areas: electricity, water, healthcare, banking services, as well as telecommunication.
Okay.
We did similar study with our center in Nairobi, and the report came, and every year the report is the research is done, and you see.
So what do you want these banks, these outlets? What are they responding to? What are they given? What information are they giving to you?
I mean, some of them, majority of them have not responded. It's almost a year now, and those who have responded says that they would have loved to sponsor it, but they don't have the funds to do that.
Oh, so you mean funds? That's in
Yes, funds.
money to support this.
Yes.
So how about the government agencies, the GSA? This is, if something like this is done, this would also help your cause.
Precisely, but I would want to chip in something, and it also points to how we are failing ourselves as a society. If you go to certain countries, we're discussing which in the UK, which is a consumer rights group. They are feared, they are respected, and people chase them with funds. Because if which publishes a league table and places your product at the bottom of that league table, you are dead. Or if your products don't even show up on the league table, trust me, nobody is going to buy it. Because we don't trust the quality, consumers don't like it. So that's it. These things, some of the time, they are self-driven. Ask yourself why people would bring substandard products into the country in the first place. Because there's a market for it. As a people, we are prepared.
And there's a weak regulator or regulators.
Precisely, but it's a two-way thing too. I always like to look at things from the angle of the businessman. The businessman will do whatever it takes to make profit, even if it means cutting corners. Right. So if there's a market for things which are cheap, which are inferior, which are substandard, the businessman will continue to bring those in. That does not excuse the regulators from doing our work. But as a people, if we accept that these things are okay for us, we go out and we buy. Expired products are on shelves, and then you see it, the seller will tell you, you know what, I'll reduce the price for you. And somebody will take it.
We see products that are almost either expired or almost expiring that are being sold like dongomi. That is, it's on the market, and there's a vehicle. There are people. They are playing music, and they are trying to sell to people in traffic.
And people are rushing to buy, and that's a problem. That's not a problem from government.
But if we had, but we do have regulators. I want to come to, if we had a law, what difference would that make? After all, we have many laws. If we had a consumer rights law, what difference would it make?
Maybe I'll take a quick shot at it, and then maybe. It's not just the law by itself. We need the law, it's very important, but we need a law that will be enforced. Part of the problem that we have in our parts is we have a lot of laws which are not enforced. So people get away with it, you know. I'll take the issue with even fuel stations. which my brother mentioned earlier on. We at the GSA are responsible for calibrating fuel pumps so that they do not under-deliver. That's the most important bit, because if they under-deliver, the consumer is shortchanged. If they over-deliver, it's the OMC that's shortchanged, but at the end of the day, maybe we are all happy. But that's rather on the light note. Currently, we are doing it twice every year. And we are finding out that that is inadequate. Because if you do it between the 6-month period, people play with the pumps and they under-deliver. You hear this all the time. I bought so and so liters, but the gauge rose to this point. So now we have decided we are going to increase the number of times that we do our verification.
To what?
From 2, we are looking to move to 4. Eventually, we'll end up doing it maybe every month, if that is what it is going to take. Because it's money. The OMC is not doing you any favor. The filling station attendant is not doing you any favor. You are paying for it. So you should get exactly what you pay for.
What's the punishment? Perhaps if we know that the punishment is stringent enough, then they will not be returning to doing the same act over and over again.
That's the other side of the coin too, and that is where I think we need the consumer rights groups, we need the media to also join us, because people do the wrong thing. When we catch them and we want to deal with them, you find groups saying, oh, the fines are too hefty, but the fines need to be hefty.
As a deterrent.
Yes, if the fines are not hefty and I can make a profit, I'll do my calculation and pay the fine every single time. Yeah. So we need to, the same way the media joined hands with everybody to fight illegal mining, it's the same way we need to all join hands and then say that, look, we are tired of having substandard products on our market, we are tired of substandard service, we are tired of inferior quality products, so we are going to wage war on this. If any group gets up and says you are destroying our business, we'll fight them.
Mr. Kusi Adumako, I asked the question of what difference would the consumer rights law make?
I think if the law were to be around, the law would have given consumer a lot of powers. And let me tell you something from the current draft. It says that the consumer has the right to select suppliers, the right to cancel in advance reservation bookings on orders, the right to examine or choose goods, the right to return goods, the right to information in plain and in understandable language, the right to product labeling and trade description, the right to disclosure of condition of goods, the right to fair and responsible marketing, the right to general standard for marketing of goods and services, and the right against bait marketing, and the right against direct marketing to consumers. And so you see that the right.
But what has happened? What has happened? Because there was a bill, 2008. What happened to it?
So let me start from 2008. 2008, the Ministry of Trade got the bill, and then we had a government in 2009, and government said, let's get the policy first before the law. And so the policy took almost 6 years to get passed by cabinet. And then our own very good friend and a veteran consumer advocate, Mr. Kofi Kapito, managed to get lawyers to revise the law, the draft framework law. It went into cabinet, and then parliament couldn't get to parliament before the last parliament session ended.
Okay.
And then the new government came. The thing is lying at the.
Which years are you talking about now?
Yes.
Okay.
So currently.
So this is just like the right to information bill.
Yes.
It's almost like the same thing that has happened.
The last time I checked, the draft document has gathered dust at the AG's department. Whenever you call them, they tell you that we are on it. And drafting this law is not any Herculean task.
Okay.
And I would say that there is a limited interest by government to see this thing done. And that is why today we are also trying to mobilize Ghanaians all over to support our call.
Okay.
And I also say that the government during the opposition in their manifesto also talk about that they will facilitate the passage of National Consumer Protection Law. And this is page number 32, chapter...
you said chapter 6?
Chapter
12.
Chapter 12. Okay.
And I think government can help Ghanaians. I think the best package government can give to Ghanaians after reducing the electricity tariffs is seeing to the passage of the Consumer Protection Law.
All right. So how can people sign real quick?
So you go change.org, and then in fact it will be trending on social media, and then we'll also be sharing it across
today. You make it trend.
Yes.
Because you said it will be trending on social media.
We are going to make it trend.
All right. Okay.
Trend, yeah.
Unfortunately, because of time, we've got to wrap this up. But the conversation will continue. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making the time to be here. It's Consumer Rights Day today. We will be back with a lot more. Cheers before we wrap up the show. Stay with us.